Imagine being so feared by the FBI that they kept you in solitary confinement for 8 months. Not because you killed anyone, not because you robbed banks, but because they believed you could start a nuclear war with a single phone call. This is the story of Kevin Mitnick, the hacker who became America's most wanted criminal, spent years running from the law, and then did something nobody expected. Before we get to the story, please subscribe to our channel to never miss stories like this. Kevin Mitnick's journey into the digital underworld began at age 12. While other kids were playing with toys, Kevin was playing with phone systems. He discovered that a simple whistle from a cereal box could trick phone networks into giving him free calls. But Kevin wasn't interested in saving money on phone bills. He was fascinated by something far more dangerous, the power to manipulate systems that controlled the world. By age 16, Kevin had already broken into his first major target, Digital Equipment Corporation, one of the world's largest computer companies. He didn't steal money or destroy files. Instead, he did something that terrified security experts even more. He proved their systems weren't safe. Then came 1982. Kevin was just 19 when he allegedly hacked into NORAD, the North American Aerospace Defense Command, the same military system that controlled America's nuclear weapons. This hack was so shocking it inspired Hollywood to create the movie War Games. The message was clear. If a teenager from California could break into America's most secure military systems, nowhere was safe. But Kevin Mitnick had a weapon more powerful than any computer virus: his voice. While other hackers relied on complex code, Kevin mastered something called social engineering. He could call a company, pretend to be an employee, and convince people to hand over their passwords and security codes. Picture this. Kevin calls a tech support desk, claims to be a new employee who forgot his login details, and within minutes, he has complete access to a company's entire network. He didn't need to break down digital walls, he simply convinced people to open the door for him. Throughout the 1980s and early 90s, Kevin's targets grew bigger and bolder. He infiltrated Motorola, Nokia, Sun Microsystems, and dozens of other tech giants. Each breach taught him new tricks and made him more dangerous. But Kevin made one critical mistake. He got addicted to the thrill. In 1992, an FBI investigation began closing in. Kevin realized the walls were closing around him, so he did what any master hacker would do. He disappeared. For over 2 years, Kevin Mitnick became a ghost. He used fake identities, constantly changed locations, and stayed one step ahead of federal agents. The FBI launched one of the longest and most expensive manhunts in their history. During this time, Kevin continued hacking. He broke into Pacific Bell, stole software from tech companies, and even monitored FBI communications about his own case. He was literally listening to the people hunting him. The manhunt became a national obsession. Media outlets called him the Condor, a master of disguise who could vanish without a trace. Some reports claimed he could launch nuclear missiles by whistling into a phone. Others said he could crash the entire internet with a few keystrokes. Most of these stories were exaggerated, but Kevin had become something more dangerous than any single hacker. He had become a legend. On February 15, 1995, Kevin Mitnick's luck finally ran out. FBI agents tracked him to an apartment in Raleigh, North Carolina. When they knocked down his door, they found Kevin sitting at his computer, probably planning his next digital heist. But his arrest was just the beginning of a new nightmare. The authorities were so terrified of Kevin's abilities that they treated him like a digital weapon of mass destruction. He was held in solitary confinement for 8 months without trial. Prison officials wouldn't even let him use a phone, convinced he could somehow hack into government systems through the telephone network. The legal battle lasted 4 years. Prosecutors painted Kevin as a cybercriminal mastermind who had caused millions of dollars in damage. Kevin's supporters claimed he was just a curious teenager who never meant to hurt anyone. In 1999, Kevin finally pleaded guilty to multiple charges of computer and wire fraud. The judge sentenced him to nearly 5 years in prison, most of which he had already served while awaiting trial. When Kevin walked out of prison in 2000, he entered a world that had completely changed. The internet had exploded into mainstream use, and suddenly, everyone understood why Kevin Mitnick had been so dangerous. Here's where Kevin's story takes an incredible turn. Instead of returning to his criminal past, Kevin Mitnick did something nobody expected. He became one of the good guys. Kevin started his own cybersecurity consulting company. using the same skills that once made him America's most wanted to help companies protect themselves from hackers. The former criminal became the hunter, tracking down digital threats for Fortune 500 companies. He wrote best-selling books about cybersecurity, appeared on television shows, and became one of the world's most sought-after speakers on hacking and digital security. Companies that once feared Kevin now paid him millions to find weaknesses in their systems. Kevin proved that the best way to catch a hacker is to hire one. For over 2 decades, Kevin Mitnick showed the world that people can change, that redemption is possible, and that sometimes the greatest criminals can become the greatest heroes. On July 16, 2023, Kevin Mitnick lost his final battle, not with the FBI, but with pancreatic cancer. He was 59 years old. Kevin's legacy isn't just about the systems he hacked or the manhunt that made him famous. It's about transformation. He proved that no matter how far you fall, it's never too late to use your talents to make the world a better place. Kevin Mitnick, the hacker who became a legend, the criminal who became a hero, and the man who showed us that in the digital age, the greatest weapon isn't a computer, it's the human mind.